10 philosophers discuss internet trolls. Witty, wise, walk on the wild side. Dear viewer, the internet troll is a digital gremlin lurking beneath the bridge of online discourse, hurling rotten tomatoes of nonsense, stirring tempests in teapots, and thriving on the sweet sultry nectar of chaos. If Plato, Nietzsche, and Kant were to stumble upon a Twitter X flame war or a Reddit rant, what profound pearls of wisdom would they dispense? Would Socrates engage a troll in debate, or would he sip his poisonous hemlock tea and log off forever? Let us embark, dear viewer, on a rollicking romp through the minds of history's greatest thinkers as they dissect the curious case of the internet troll, those mischievous miscreants who turn comment sections into colosseums of confusion and animosity. Warning: this video may contain traces of pretentious vocabulary, meandering metaphors, intentional alliteration, and far too many playful, fictional quotes. 1. Socrates, the troll tamer of timeless truths. Socrates, the ancient Athenian agitator, was technically a troll, but a highbrow one. He wandered the streets, pestering politicians with questions until they admitted they knew nothing. If he were alive today, he'd be that one guy in every Facebook thread asking, "But what do you really mean by justice?" Yet while Socrates trolled for truth, modern trolls agitate for laughter at another's expense. Instead of seeking truth like earnest philosophers, internet trolls sow seeds of discord, their comments akin to verbal venom splashed upon the vines of virtual villages. Socrates would likely shake his head at the troll's lack of higher purpose. "You provoke not to enlighten but to enrage. How vulgar," he might say. His verdict? Trolling without philosophical intent is just angry blather. 2. Plato, trolls as shadows in the digital cave. Picture Plato's cave allegory, but instead of prisoners staring at flickering shadows on the wall, they're doom-scrolling through Twitter. The trolls, they're the ones holding up puppets of nonsense, making people fight over illusions. Plato would see internet trolling as the ultimate corruption of discourse, deception in sweatpants. Instead of leading people toward the light of truth, trolls drag them deeper into the darkness of the cave, where reality is whatever gets the most reactions. Plato's solution? Ban them to the realm of ignorant darkness, or at least mute them. Consider the modern debate bro who weaponizes half-understood philosophy to own opponents. Plato would most likely groan, "You're not freeing minds from illusion, you're just casting new shadows." 3. Aristotle, virtue lost among viral vitriol. Aristotle loved balance. Virtue was the golden mean between extremes. The wittiness virtue, for instance, sits between boorishness and buffoonery. But trolling, that's pure excess, including too much provocation, malice and cruelty, and too little empathy. Aristotle might liken trolls to malicious mosquitoes buzzing in the digital darkness, draining dignity one sting at a time. He'd classify trolls as emotional gluttons, feasting on attention but starving for real meaning. A well-mannered debate? Noble. A flame war? Barbaric. His advice: if you must argue online, do it with virtue, or at least wit. Aristotle, in his virtue ethics, would likely argue that trolling is a form of acrasia, or weakness of will, where individuals prioritize short-term gains, attention, reactions, over long-term virtues, genuine connection, respect. He would especially despise the sea lion troll, the one who demands endless evidence while offering none themselves. "Rhetoric should persuade, not pester," he'd most likely thunder. "If your words serve no purpose but to annoy, you are not a philosopher. You are a pest." 4. Thomas Hobbes, trolls in the state of nature. Hobbes famously declared life in the wild as nasty, brutish, and short. The internet, in many ways, is Hobbes' state of nature with no real laws, just war of all against all. Trolls thrive in this anarchy, flinging insults like cavemen hurling snot rockets. Without a digital leviathan, moderator's consequences, Hobbes would say trolling is inevitable. His solution? A strong social contract, or at least better, ban hammers. Hobbes would be fascinated by Forchan, which is a lawless wasteland where might, or at least meme power, makes right. See? He might say, without order, this is what happens. Now, who wants to sign my internet constitution? 5. Immanuel Kant, a categorical conundrum of cyber conduct. Kant, the stern German philosopher whose gaze would pierce through the screen with the intensity of 1,000 pop-up ads, believed in duty above all and would despise trolls. His categorical imperative asks, what if everyone did this? If everyone trolled, the internet would collapse into a black hole of angry nonsense. Worse, trolls treat people as means for their amusement rather than ends, rational beings deserving respect. Kant's verdict? Block them immediately. Kant would be especially disgusted by concerned trolls, those who pretend to care while stirring drama. False kindness is worse than honest malice, he might declare. At least the malicious troll is consistent. 6. John Stuart Mill, free speech, but with limits. Mill loved free speech, but even he had limits. His harm principle states, do whatever you want, unless it hurts others. Joke trolling? Maybe fine. Targeted harassment? Absolutely not. Mill would likely argue that while trolling can be speech, abusive trolling is tyranny, and society has a right to shut it down. From a utilitarian perspective, the ethical evaluation of trolling would depend on its consequences. If trolling produces more overall harm, unhappiness, distress, erosion of online discourse, than good, the troll's amusement, it would be deemed unethical. The focus would be on the net impact on the well-being of all involved. Mill would support deplatforming the worst offenders. Free speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences, he'd probably say. If your jokes make people flee the public square, you're not a comedian, you are a narcissist. 7. Nietzsche, the troll as the last man. Nietzsche scorned the last man, who is the petty, comfort-seeking creature who mocks greatness. Internet trolls? Classic last men. Instead of creating, they tear down. Instead of striving, they sneer. Would Nietzsche respect a troll? After all, trolls seem to revel in the exercise of their will, carving chaos into comment sections like vandals scrawling graffiti on the walls of civilization. No, dear viewer, Nietzsche would only respect trolls if they were masters of chaos, like his Übermensch, the superior individual who creates their own values. But most trolls, these are just small souls laughing at the abyss because they're afraid to jump in. Nietzsche might scorn trolls as digital dwarves dancing in the shadows of greatness, their chaos a cacophony devoid of creation. He would despise the anti-woke troll who spends all day mocking others. You call this rebellion? This is just cowardice with a keyboard. 8. Jean-Paul Sartre, trolls in bad faith. Sartre's bad faith describes people who lie to themselves to avoid responsibility. Trolls hiding behind anonymity. Ultimate bad faith. You pretend you're just joking, but you know exactly what you're doing, Sartre might say. True freedom means owning your words, not cowering behind an avatar. Sartre would call out the troll who says, "It's just a prank, bro," after sparking outrage. No, you chose this. Now live with it. Trolling, in this view, is a form of evasion, avoiding genuine human connection and accountability. Trolls create a digital persona that is not their authentic self, but a constructed identity designed to provoke and manipulate. 9. Simone de Beauvoir, the troll as the other. Simone de Beauvoir, the philosopher of existential freedom and a feminist firebrand, might cast a critical eye on trolling through the lens of the other. Trolls, in their quest to provoke, often target specific groups like women, minorities, or anyone daring to defy their narrow worldview. De Beauvoir might liken trolls to snarling sentinels who silence and suppress through the mechanics of malice. She would argue that trolling tries to reduce the target to mere objecthood, stripping them of autonomy and dignity. 10. Diogenes the Cynic, top troll of Greece. Now, Diogenes, the ancient Greek who lived in a large piece of pottery, Pythos, known for his biting wit and rejection of social norms, might see trolls as fellow travelers in the art of provocative critique. He once told Alexander the Great to stop blocking my sunlight and masturbated in public to prove a point. Diogenes was the ultimate troll. If he had Twitter, he'd ratio kings, sub-tweet philosophers, and live-stream himself eating raw onions just to annoy people. Would he also condemn modern trolls? Maybe, but he'd also respect the sheer audacity. Still, even Diogenes trolled with purpose, which was to expose hypocrisy. Today's trolls? They lack intellectual rigor and seek attention above gravitas. Imagine Diogenes in a Twitch chat. He wouldn't just spam LOL or cringe. No, he'd type, "I reject your social norms. Watch me eat this unhatched baby chick. Also, your favorite streamer is a flatulent fraud." Then he'd donate 1 cent with the message, "Prove me wrong." Philosophical concepts, the soul of troll, insincerity and deception. Philosophers have long grappled with the ethics of lying and deception. Trolling often involves presenting a false persona or insincere opinions to provoke reactions. Philosophical thought would analyze the moral implications of this deliberate misrepresentation and its impact on trust and communication. The intentions and motivations of trolls. What are the psychological and social motivations behind trolling? Is it purely for amusement, schadenfreude? Is it a manifestation of underlying psychological issues, e.g., sadism, psychopathy, narcissism? Does it stem from social alienation or a desire for attention? Understanding these motivations is crucial for a comprehensive philosophical analysis. Free speech versus harm. The issue of trolling often intersects with debates about freedom of speech. Philosophical discourse would grapple with the tension between the right to express oneself and the need to protect individuals and communities from harmful behavior. Does trolling fall under legitimate free speech, or constitutes abuse that warrants intervention? Final verdict: to troll or not to troll? After this grand tour of thoughtful debate, the philosopher's consensus is clear. The act of trolling for truth, according to Socrates and Diogenes, may be a noble cause. Trolling for chaos, à la Hobbes and Nietzsche, should be considered a dangerous endeavor. And trolling for the sake of cruelty, according to Kant and Mill, is unforgivable. The internet, like the ancient agora, dear viewer, should be a place of debate and not a psychological hot mess masterclass. So next time you encounter a troll, ask yourself, what would Aristotle do? Then block them and move on. Wisdom wins.